everyone. Welcome to English Flow Podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm William, and we are so happy you are spending this time with us today.
Okay, let me take you somewhere very familiar. You are at the supermarket. You are in a hurry. You walk toward the express checkout lane, and there is a sign above it.
And the sign says 10 items or less.
And somewhere in the back of your mind, if you have been learning English carefully, a tiny voice says, wait, should that be fewer? 10 items or fewer?
And then you think, am I really standing in a supermarket debating English grammar right now?
Yes, yes, you are. And honestly, that means your English is growing beautifully.
Because less and fewer is one of those distinctions that separates careful English from careless English. And today, we are going to make it completely clear.
Less versus fewer. Two words that both mean a smaller amount of something, but used in very different situations for very different kinds of nouns.
And once you understand the logic, you will use them correctly every single time, without thinking, without hesitating.
No complicated grammar, no heavy rules, just a simple, clear idea that will change the way you speak and write forever.
If you are new to English Flow Podcast, welcome. We are so glad you found us. Subscribe right now and keep growing with us every single week.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's flow.
Before we can truly understand less and fewer, we need to talk about something that sits underneath both of them, something that makes the whole thing make sense.
Countable and uncountable nouns.
This is the key. This is the foundation. And once this clicks, less and fewer become the easiest thing in the world.
So let's start with countable nouns. Countable nouns are things you can count individually, one by one. They have a singular and a plural form.
An apple, 2 apples. 1 chair, 5 chairs. A mistake, 3 mistakes.
You can put a number in front of them, 1, 2, 3, and it makes perfect sense.
You can count them on your fingers. You can separate them and say, here is one, here is another one, here is a third one.
Apples, chairs, mistakes, people, books, ideas, questions, students, days, words. All countable, all individual, all separable.
Now, uncountable nouns. These are things you cannot count individually, things that come as a whole, a mass, a substance, a concept.
Water. You cannot say one water, 2 waters in the same way. You say some water, a lot of water, a little water.
Rice, sand, music, information, advice, happiness, time, money, patience, traffic, knowledge.
These things exist as continuous wholes. You cannot pick them up one by one and say, here is one music, here is another music.
They do not have a natural individual unit. They flow, they spread, they exist as a mass.
And this distinction, countable versus uncountable, is exactly what drives the choice between fewer and less.
Fewer is for countable nouns. Less is for uncountable nouns.
Fewer, things you can count. Less, things you cannot count.
That is the whole rule. That is everything. 2 sentences, 1 idea. And now let's explore each word fully so it becomes completely yours. Fewer. Let's start here because fewer is actually the more specific word, the more precise one, and understanding it first makes everything else clearer.
Fewer is used with countable nouns, things you can number, things that have a clear individual unit, things you can point at one by one.
There are fewer students in class today than yesterday. Students, you can count them. 1 student, 5 students, 20 students. Fewer students.
I made fewer mistakes on this test than the last one. Mistakes, countable. 1 mistake, 2 mistakes, fewer mistakes.
We have fewer days left than we thought. Days, countable. 1 day, 7 days. Fewer days.
She receives fewer emails now that she changed her settings. Emails, countable. 1 email, 100 emails, fewer emails.
He has fewer friends in the new city, but the ones he has are very close. Friends, countable. 1 friend, 10 friends. Fewer friends.
In every single one of those, the noun can be counted, numbered, individually identified. So fewer.
And here is a beautiful way to feel it. When you use fewer, you can almost hear the individual units, the separate pieces.
Fewer mistakes. You can imagine counting them. Mistake number 1, mistake number 2.
Fewer days. You can count them on a calendar. Day 1, day 2, day 3.
Fewer people came to the event than expected. You can count people. 1 person, 2 people, fewer people.
Fewer is almost like saying a smaller number of, a smaller count of.
And that is exactly what it means, a smaller number of individual countable things.
Now, fewer also works beautifully in formal writing, in professional communication, in careful, precise English.
The report showed fewer incidents this quarter compared to last year.
The new policy resulted in fewer complaints from customers.
We're seeing fewer delays since the system was updated.
All formal, all precise, all using fewer with countable nouns. Incidents, complaints, delays. Countable.
And here's something interesting. Fewer can stand alone as well, without the noun, when the context is clear.
How many people attended? Fewer than expected.
Fewer than expected, fewer than before, fewer than last time. All natural, all correct.
Fewer is precise. Fewer is careful. Fewer is the word you reach for when individual things are being counted and compared. Now, let's meet less and feel how different its world is.
Less. And the first thing I want to say about less is that it is the word most people reach for automatically, in all situations.
Because less feels natural. Less feels easy. Less is shorter. And in spoken English, less is everywhere.
Less is used with uncountable nouns, things that cannot be separated into individual units, things that exist as a whole.
I need less time to finish this than I thought. Time, you cannot count time unit by unit in this way. It flows. It is continuous. Less time.
She has been drinking less water lately, and it is affecting her energy. Water. Uncountable. It flows. You cannot count individual waters. Less water.
There was less traffic on the roads this morning than usual. Traffic, uncountable. You cannot count individual traffics. Less traffic.
We need less patience with the process and more trust in the outcome. Patience. Uncountable. An emotional quality. Less patience.
He has been showing less enthusiasm for the project recently. Enthusiasm, uncountable. A feeling, a state. Less enthusiasm.
In every one of those, the noun cannot be counted individually. It is a mass, a flow, a concept. So, less.
And you can feel the difference. Less water, you cannot pick up individual waters. Less traffic, you cannot count individual traffics. It is all one continuous thing.
Less is like saying a smaller amount of, a smaller portion of something whole.
And less also works with numbers and measurements, which surprises some learners.
It costs less than £50. She finished in less than 20 minutes. The temperature dropped to less than 0.
When a number is being treated as a measurement, a continuous quantity, less is used. Less than 50, less than 20, less than 0.
The amount is seen as a whole measurement, not as individual countable units being numbered one by one.
Less is also used in many common fixed phrases that you will hear constantly in daily English.
Less and less. Things are getting less and less affordable these days.
More or less. Are you finished? More or less, yes.
No less than. She won no less than 5 awards that year.
In less than. He finished the whole project in less than a week.
More with less. We need to learn to do more with less.
All fixed, all natural, all using less as a fluid, flowing, uncountable concept.
Less is generous. Less is expansive. Less covers the continuous, the flowing, the immeasurable.
And now let's put them side by side and feel the full contrast.
Let's feel the contrast directly. Same structure, different noun, different word.
Less water, fewer glasses of water.
Water, uncountable. Less water. Glasses of water, countable. Fewer glasses of water.
Less time, fewer hours.
Time, uncountable. Less time. Hours, countable. Fewer hours.
Less money, fewer coins.
Money, uncountable. Less money. Coins, countable. Fewer coins.
Less traffic, fewer cars.
Traffic, uncountable. Less traffic. Cars, countable. Fewer cars.
Less noise, fewer complaints.
Noise, uncountable. Less noise. Complaints, countable. Fewer complaints.
Do you feel it? The moment the noun becomes something you can count individually, fewer steps in. The moment it becomes a mass or a concept, less takes over.
And here is your quick mental check for every time you are not sure. Ask yourself, can I count this individually? Can I say 1 of this and 2 of this?
If yes, fewer. If no, less.
Can I count apples? Yes, 1 apple, 2 apples. Fewer apples. Can I count water? No, you cannot say 1 water, 2 waters in that way. Less water.
Can I count people? Yes, 1 person, 2 people. Fewer people. Can I count patience? No, less patience.
Can I count days? Yes, 1 day, 2 days. Fewer days. Can I count time? No, not in individual units. Less time.
That question, can I count this individually, is your compass. Use it every time.
Now, let's talk about mistakes, because this is one of the most commonly confused pairs in all of English, and the mistakes are everywhere, even on official signs.
Yes, remember the supermarket sign at the beginning? 10 items or less? Technically, items are countable, so it should be 10 items or fewer.
But less has been used with countable nouns in informal and spoken English for so long that many people consider it acceptable in casual contexts.
Language evolves, and less has been creeping into countable territory for centuries. Even Shakespeare used it with countable nouns.
So, in everyday speech, saying less people, less mistakes, less days, people will understand you perfectly. Nobody will stop the conversation.
But in formal writing, in academic essays, in professional reports, in careful communication, fewer with countable nouns is the precise and polished choice.
And using fewer correctly in the right moment signals that you are a careful, precise communicator. And that matters.
Now let's hear less and fewer living inside real, natural conversations.
Imagine two colleagues talking after a long and difficult week at work.
I cannot believe how many meetings we had this week. I feel completely drained.
I know, we need fewer meetings and more time to actually do the work. I said the same thing to the manager yesterday.
And what did she say?
She said she would try to create less pressure around deadlines and that she understands we need less time in meeting rooms and more time at our desks.
Well, I hope so. I've had less sleep this week than any other week this year, and fewer proper breaks than I can count.
Same here. Let's make a plan. Less stress, fewer late nights, more balance.
I love that plan. Simple, clear, let's do it.
Let's notice all the forms in that conversation. Fewer meetings, meetings are countable, individual, fewer. Less pressure, pressure is uncountable, a feeling, a state, less. Less time, time is uncountable, less. Fewer proper breaks, breaks are countable, fewer. Less sleep, sleep is uncountable, less. Fewer late nights, nights are countable, fewer. Less stress, stress is uncountable, less.
Every single one exactly right. And the conversation feels completely real, completely human.
Because once you understand the logic, fewer and less stop being a source of confusion. They become natural, instinctive, part of how you think in English.
Countable things, fewer. Uncountable things, less.
And everything flows from there. Final part. And as always, we are going to practice together one last time.
I will give you a phrase. You decide, less or fewer. Use the question, can I count this individually? Then, William gives the answer.
Ready? Let's go.
Blank pollution in the city.
Less. Pollution, uncountable. A mass concept. You cannot count individual pollutions. Less pollution in the city.
Blank accidents on the road this year.
Fewer. Accidents, countable. One accident, two accidents. Fewer accidents on the road this year.
Blank sugar in your coffee.
Less. Sugar, uncountable. A substance. You cannot count individual sugars. Less sugar in your coffee.
Blank words, more action.
Fewer. Words, countable. One word, 10 words. Fewer words, more action. A beautiful phrase.
Blank effort was needed than expected.
Less. Effort, uncountable. A concept, a quality. You cannot count individual efforts in this way. Less effort was needed than expected.
Blank hours of screen time every day is better for your eyes.
Fewer. Hours, countable. 1 hour, 2 hours. Fewer hours of screen time.
Blank noise, please. I am trying to concentrate.
Less. Noise, uncountable. Sound as a whole. Less noise, please.
Blank opportunities were available this year due to the economic situation.
Fewer. Opportunities, countable. One opportunity, several opportunities. Fewer opportunities. How did that feel? Did the question, can I count this individually, help you every time?
That question is everything. It is the one tool you need. Simple, fast, reliable.
Let's close with the final summary. Clean, clear, yours to keep.
Fewer, use it with countable nouns. Things you can number individually. Things that have a singular and a plural form. Things you can point at one by one. 1 apple, 2 apples, fewer apples. 1 mistake, 2 mistakes, fewer mistakes. 1 day, 2 days, fewer days.
Less. Use it with uncountable nouns. Things that exist as a mass, a flow, a concept. Things you cannot count individually. Water, time, money, traffic, patience, information, happiness, music, noise, stress.
less water, less time, less stress.
The quick check, can I count it individually? Can I say 1 of this and 2 of this? Yes, fewer. No, less.
And in everyday casual speech, less is widely used with countable nouns, and most people will understand you perfectly. But in formal writing, fewer is the precise and polished choice with countable nouns.
Know the rule, understand the distinction, and then choose the right level for the right situation.
That is what language mastery looks like. Not just knowing the rule, but knowing when and how to apply it.
Say the final check one more time with us.
Can I count it? Fewer. Can I not count it? Less.
That is your compass forever.
And remember, every episode of this podcast that you listen to, that is fewer gaps in your English knowledge. That is less confusion and more confidence.
Did you see that? Fewer gaps. Gaps are countable. Less confusion. Confusion is uncountable.
It never stops. And we hope it never does, because every time you notice these things, in podcasts, in books, on supermarket signs, your English is alive. It is growing.
And that growth, that is something no one can take away from you.
If today's episode helped you, please share it with someone who is learning English. Your share might be exactly what they needed today.
Subscribe to English Flow Podcast and come back every week for real, natural, flowing English made just for you. I'm Sarah.
And I'm William.
Keep flowing.